This training is BCYMP's Healthy Boundaries training. In this training, you will learn how to create and sustain healthy boundaries with your mentee and their parent or caregiver. Your role as a mentor. As a mentor, your role is to be a guide and friend, a supportive and caring adult, a role model, and a listener. As a mentor, your role is not to be a counselor or therapist who assesses or diagnoses your mentee. Your role is not to be a source of money or transportation for your mentee or their family. And your role is not to be a babysitter or a caregiver for your mentee. The parent and caregiver role is different from the mentor's role. The role of a parent and caregiver is to provide structure and overall support to the mentee mentor relationship. The parent caregiver is responsible for caring for mentee's siblings, cousins, friends, and other family members, as well as the mentee. Remember, the parent caregiver may not have the means to financially support activities for mentee and you. Talk with your BCYMP staff if you have further questions about this. How do these roles work together? The first priority of the relationship between parent, caregiver, and mentor is to support the mentee through open communication and guidance. If we think of this on a continuum, we might think of the left side of the continuum of having zero communication, no support, and never being on the same page with each other. We can think of the right side of the continuum as having no independence and complete dependence on each other. There's no confidence to build a healthy relationship separate from each other. Where we want to be is in the middle of the continuum, where there is open communication, teamwork to support the mentee, trust in each other to work independently on a healthy relationship with the mentee. It is important for us to learn how to establish a trusting relationship. In order to do this, we can talk about our expectations with the parent caregiver in the beginning of our relationship building. We can talk about goals with the parent caregiver, discuss any concerns, fears, or worries, and how to support them in those concerns, fears, or worries. Create the understanding of how to communicate with each other in an open dialogue that is effective for all parties involved. Discuss each other's roles and boundaries. Check in with the parent caregiver about these topics periodically to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Conflict is something that might arise when building relationships with others. There is an effective way for conflict resolution. Number one is setting expectations and boundaries. Revisit expectations with each other and what boundaries have been set. Number two is confidentiality. Remind each other of the importance of confidentiality and to put other parties at ease to express their feelings and concerns with you in order to work toward resolution. Number three is miscommunication. Discuss confusion and ask questions to clarify. Unless you make your uncertainty known, other parties are not aware you do not understand. Number four is to listen and reflect. It is important to actively listen to the parent caregiver's concerns and to reflect back your understanding of their concerns. Number five is to respond. Use I feel statements to effectively communicate your feelings. When you say I feel, it does not seem as confrontational to the other party, instead of using you always do this, for example. It is important for us to practice and navigate. We can take a step back and look at the parent's perspective. Explain your feelings using I feel statements. Practice making a plan if conflict arises again. It is okay to ask for help. For example, I hear that you are upset and I want to support you and mentee the best I can. I would like to contact our BCYMP mentoring specialist to discuss our situation further. Now we are going to discuss some potential scenarios you might see when working with your mentee and their parent caregiver. The first scenario is in regard to the mentee. You and your mentee are playing at the park. Your mentee is a younger child and would like to sit on your lap to go down the slide. You do not feel comfortable with this and say to your mentee, I would be more comfortable if you go down the slide first, and I will go after you. This is a great way to set a boundary and model appropriate advocatory skills with your mentee. Remember, you do not have to do something you are not comfortable doing, even if you feel obligated. The next scenario also revolves the mentee relationship. You and your teenage mentee have plans to go to a fun Halloween event together, and your mentee asks if she can bring her boyfriend along. You ask your mentee if you could talk with their parent caregiver together. If their parent agrees, you tell your mentee that you would be happy to have the mentee's boyfriend come along this time, but next time you would like to spend time with just them. This is a great way to get to know your mentee's close peers, build rapport, and set a healthy boundary with your mentee for the future. The next scenario is a scenario you might see with a parent caregiver. Your mentee comes from a large sibling group of 5. You are scheduled to meet with your mentee this week, and their parent caregiver texts you asking if you would also take their 3 younger siblings with for the second week in a row because she does not have anyone to watch them and she needs a break. You politely did this last week, but your mentee voiced that they like to spend individual time with you instead. You decide you do not feel comfortable responding to this situation alone, and you contact a BCYMP specialist to assist you in setting and discussing this boundary further with the mentee's parent caregiver. The next scenario is another scenario you may see with a parent caregiver. You are scheduled to meet with your mentee this week to do a fun activity, but you receive a call from your mentee's parent stating that mentee got into trouble this week and the parent caregiver would like to cancel for this week because the mentee is grounded. You encourage the parent caregiver that you would like to support both of them and mentee in this situation. You request to go for a walk with the mentee this week to check in and see how they are doing and reschedule the fun activity for next time because you do not want mentee to view your relationship with them as a punishment. The next scenario is a scenario you may see with your mentee. Your mentee is about to age out of the program, and you are worried that they may not have all the tools they need to be successful in the next step of their life. You care about your mentee being successful in their future, and you are unsure how to support them in this next journey. You decide to contact your BCYMP mentoring specialist to help you navigate this process. Your BCYMP mentoring specialist can help you identify available resources, scholarships, and support options for your mentee. Please remember that these are only a few examples that may occur in your mentoring relationship. Conflict can be uncomfortable, and it can be inevitable when building caring relationships with others. But there are effective ways to resolve conflict and to build a plan together to navigate conflict in the future. If you are ever unsure of what to do in a situation, please remember that your BCYMP mentoring specialists are here to help you navigate these situations. And remember, you do not have to do anything that you are not comfortable doing, even if you feel obligated. Thank you for choosing to be part of the BCYMP program. You are making a big difference in the lives of others.